everyone who has joined the event. We welcome you here today. We're just going to go over a few housekeeping rules. So firstly, I'd like to ensure that everyone's video is kept off during the session. If you have any questions, I'm going to ask you to save them till the end of the presentation. It should probably be about 20 minutes. After that, we'll have about 10 minutes for question and answer. At that point, you can either put them up in the chat or you can just ask them. This presentation is being recorded, so I please ask that you are respectful as the mic is active. You can actually put that on mute as well if you like. My name is Charm. I would like to introduce our presenter, Lacey Liebrecht. She is a civil design technologist and she works for Manitoba Infrastructure. I would now like to pass things over to Lacey.
Hey, hello everyone. As she said, I'm Lacey. So I'm just gonna share a little bit about my educational background, and then also, I guess, what I do within Manitoba Infrastructure and my job. So I have a presentation. I'm just gonna share it. Hopefully everyone can see. So Lacey Liebrecht, civil design technologist with Manitoba Infrastructure. I'm gonna go over my post-secondary education, my employer, Manitoba Infrastructure, and my occupation as a civil design technologist. And then I'm just gonna show you some examples of projects that I've done in the past. So my post-secondary education started at Red River College. I took the civil engineering technology program they offered. So civil engineering technology is a cluster of diploma programs that provides students with career training in construction engineering, environmental engineering, and geomatics technologies. So it could be either a 2-year or 3-year diploma program, and it breaks up, after the first year, it breaks up into 6 different options. So architectural engineering technology, environmental engineering technology, geomatics technology, municipal engineering technology, structural engineering technology, and the program that I took, which was building CAD technology. I just did some little research on their website recently and noticed that they actually took the building CAD technology and made their own program, and they called it architectural technology. So they pulled it out of the civil engineering and made their own program. But at the time, in 2007, when I started, it was building CAD technology within civil engineering. And each of these programs requires a 1 to 2 summer co-op term position, working out in the field and using your knowledge from the year. And the suggested prerequisites for this program were applied math or pre-calculus at least. In the first year of the civil technology program, you do several courses. These are the main ones. Technical drafting and CAD, or computer aided design. They teach you how to hand draft and use the computer to draft. Technical communications, they teach you about using Microsoft Office products, creating PowerPoints, doing resumes, and also building your interview skills. And then you also take chemistry and surveying. So you go out and you learn about surveying with levels and total stations and things like that. And then also algebra and trig, and then statistics and strength of materials. So those were the main courses. Then after the first year, you take a summer co-op program. RRC's co-op program assists students in getting summer positions with a variety of companies related to their desired field. I was hired within Manitoba Infrastructure, and they assigned me to work on a project on PTH 9 north of Gimli, where they were replacing the structure of a 16-kilometer stretch of highway. So I was able to assist with the preliminary survey. I learned about quarries, crushing, and materials used for roadway construction. and I learned about roadway construction and project delivery from beginning to end of that 6-month term. Then I come back to school and I started my second year. So the second year of courses, once I chose Building CAD as my direction, then we started into architectural detailing. So it was mainly architectural drafting on with using computer-aided design software, such as AutoCAD. And then the next other courses that I took were building science. So you learn about different materials that buildings would use. Mostly they aim to go for environmentally friendly building materials. And then the next course, structural systems, was about drafting structural parts of buildings. And then the codes and standards was learning about how to build buildings to code. And then the project management was to teach you how to manage projects. So then after the second year of courses, I was able to graduate with my diploma in Building CAD technology, and Manitoba Infrastructure rehired me for a term position in a CAD role this time. And after I was on with Manitoba Infrastructure, I was able to apply internally for a permanent position. So now I'm just going to talk about a little bit about what Manitoba Infrastructure is and does, and my job within it. So Manitoba Infrastructure is responsible for the development of transportation policy and legislation of Manitoba's vast infrastructure network. So Manitoba Infrastructure is broken down into 8 different areas. I work within the engineering and operations area, or division, I guess they would call it. And then within engineering and operations division, it's also broken up down into 9 different branches. And my branch is construction support services. So construction support services provides expert and experienced internal technical training, consulting, research, and evaluation services that ensure consistent quality of fairness in the delivery of highway construction projects. So some of the services we offer are internal survey support and training, internal GIS and CAD support and training, survey technology research and design, construction audit and quality assurance, and then we also have the training, development, and recruitment section under our branch as well. When I first started with construction support services as a geomatics CAD technician, I was provided various internal training for CAD, GIS, and survey, and to understand the processes of the programs that Manitoba Infrastructure uses to complete their jobs. So now my position as a civil design technologist, this is my permanent position that I've had for the past 8 years. So I perform technical development and research related to computer-aided design and drafting software. I develop detailed design drawings for preliminary engineering designs, northern airports, water management services, etc. I develop maps for flood events, winter roads, paving, and surfacing projects. I provide internal CAD training and support for CAD software and related softwares that we use within Manitoba Infrastructure. And then I also have unrelated duties that when you get hired with Manitoba Infrastructure, the last option in there is duties as assigned. So sometimes if you're really, in my experience, I'm kind of computer savvy, so I got assigned some duties that require having technical computer skills. So I submit requests for computer and printer renewals, file recovery, asset management, and inventory, etc. I also approve the billing for our branches, assets, users, and phones. So now I just want to show you some examples of some recent projects that I've done. So the very first one is a water management plan and profile for a drain. And I'm going to explain kind of what the plan is built up of. So this is the plan, the drawing. It'll start with a title page. And then on the next page, it's broken up into several different areas. You have a plan view that shows the site plan of the drain. So it runs across, and there's many details that it picks up, such as culverts or bridges, and it gives you details on the size of the culverts and the locations. Below that, then we have the profile of the drain and any other features like a bridge or culverts that are in there. There's also a dike showing. So this will show the left side and the right side profiles. And then as we move over, we get to see some typical cross sections of the drain. And then a little key plan showing where it lands within the province. So there might be several pages showing different sections of the project depending on how long it is. And this one's quite long. And so I would draw this up and then give it to an engineer, and they would use this information to determine if the drain needs to be restructured or something, or bridge needs to be replaced or things like that. So that's the type of plan that I might draw for 2D. I also do maps. So there's this route and seal maps that I created just to show where some projects will be throughout the year. This one's from 2019, so this happened last year. So just different, just small maps showing where these projects might take place over the year throughout the province. Another map is for the 2020 flood event, showing alternative routes for passenger and commercial vehicles. So I'd use it, instead of a CAD program, I do use a GIS program, so Geospatial Information System, such as ArcMap. So this shows alternate routes when the flood was happening. Thankfully, we didn't get too much of a bad flood this year. And then another 2D type of drawing I might do is a traffic barrier drawings for the traffic engineering section. So this one's much more basic. You see an elevation view, you see a plan view, you might see cross sections and small minor details. And then just some additional information in regards to the rebar that they might use within the concrete and the below grade rebar, and then the rebar that might be required for the concrete construction. And now I want to show you a little bit more fun that I get to do on my job, which is the 3D drawings that I might get to do. So I have a couple drawings. So this one's a field splitter. And this was just like a quick little project that somebody asked me to whip up. And it's just used to split material. You pour rocks in and it splits it. So basic design, but you know, something fun that breaks up the monotony of 2D drawings. But yeah, I really like doing 3D stuff, so that's always fun. And then I have this project here that was a creek that was actually picked up with something called LiDAR. So they fly an airplane, they pick up all this information, and they give it to the CAD person, and the CAD person tosses it into the computer, and I was able to create a 3D model of it and throw in the existing bridge that was there. The car is not something that I did myself. It's something that you can download from the internet and just toss it in there. So I did not draw the car, but I was able to render grass and water and wood and guardrail, so that you can kind of see what the existing bridge site might look like with the creek and the water level and everything. So that's the fun part of my job. So that's about it that I have for my presentation. I have some links that I guess I'll toss into maybe the chat. But if anybody has any questions, I will try to answer them.
I just typed it up into the chat there. I was just wondering if we were supposed to be able to see some drawings, that 3D drawing you were saying. I couldn't see anything. I could just see your slide, and I couldn't see any of the.
It didn't come up?
Not for me. I don't know if anyone else saw anything. I couldn't see it.
Okay, let me try again, because I can. How about now?
Yes, now I can see it.
Okay. You saw the
Yes.
PDFs though? Did you see the PDFs?
I didn't see anything. I just kept seeing
no.
your slide, and I was like, am I supposed to be doing something? Because I really can't. So I don't know if you want to just.
I could redo that.
Maybe, yeah, just because it is recorded, and then it'll be there for people to view. So then maybe if you can just do that part, because I don't know if anyone has a question, because I feel like one was just the tech person, and now it's just it's just Lori there. So yeah, maybe if you just want to do that so that if people are watching the video, they can actually see what it was, if you don't mind.
For sure, yeah. No, I'll do it. Okay.
And I'm just going to mute myself again then.
Okay. So can you see this map?
Right now, I just see your desktop, and it shows your files.
Okay. Okay, there's a map. You see it now?
Yes.
Okay. I should have tested that part too, I guess, hey?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, so this is a map. This is the flood map that I was talking about. It shows the alternate commercial and passenger routes for when the flood was going on this year, or when they were well, I think the south part of Manitoba got flooded not nearly as badly as any other part. So, or rather, the south part was more flooded than any other part. So they show different routes, and I use geospatial information systems to create maps like this, to produce them for flood, to send out to different areas of Manitoba, so they know which routes that are open and which are available. Okay, let me try another. Okay, so this one is the drain that I was talking about. This is a more, I guess this is more likely the project that I would be working on a day-to-day type thing. So it's a drain plan showing various parts. The site plan at the very top shows different details about bridges and culverts, and the location of certain things from a top view. And then we can see a profile view of the bottom of the drain and some bridges and culverts that are there on the left and the right side of the drain. And then typical cross sections. So you cut the drain and you can see the banks and the bottom on each, the banks on each side and the bottom of the creek. And then just a site plan showing where it falls within Manitoba. So this one has a variety of pages that go with it because the drain was quite long. So that's a typical type of job I would do. This one's for water management. Let's see other projects that I have. So I'll bring up the 3D ones here. So this one was the field splitter I was talking about. It's just a little 3D model that I did for somebody who requested it because they were going to have it built. And I did have some, oh, we're on the wrong side of it, but we have measurements and everything for the person to use, so they know how big all the parts of it are. So that's one. The other 3D drawing I have that I've done is, so it was picked up by LiDAR, by surveyors used LiDAR to pick up this data. So of the land that runs all the way along this creek and the roadway that runs across it. And then also this bridge here. And I took all this data and I brought it into the program that we use, which is MicroStation, and created a 3D model. I did not create the car, which is what I was saying earlier. The car is just something you bring in. But you're able to create these 3D objects within MicroStation, and you can render them to have certain materials on them. So you can see the wood and the grass and the guardrail and the water. So yeah, so that's a little bit more of a fun project, I say, because it's a little bit more dynamic than just a 2D site plan and profile and cross sections. Yeah, so hopefully everybody was able to see that this time. But yeah, that's all I have. So if anybody wants to ask any questions now.
I will ask just a couple questions.
For sure. I feel like I ran through that very quickly, so.
That's okay, because I think like you talked through it before, and maybe I should have interrupted initially and been like, hey, I don't see it. And then maybe it would have made, but anyways, we heard it and we referred back to it, and thanks for doing that. You had mentioned there that when you were at Red River and you took your civil engineering technology program, that there was a co-op program.
Yes.
And what I'm wondering is, that co-op program, do you feel as though that was helpful, being able to take what you learned in the classroom and then apply that knowledge to the workplace? Was that beneficial?
Very much so, yeah. So with having that, because the way they set it up is they have essentially like a website that all the students are to go to use, of the companies that have applied to have students come and work for them. Like, so the companies know that they're hiring students from the first year program or the second year. So they'll be told which, which year that you're coming from. And so they're aware of how much knowledge that you're going to come with. And it was so beneficial because it worked in like a teaching situation. So you took all the knowledge that you learned in the classroom, you take it out into the field and you can really apply it and really understand it. I'm more of a, what you call a kinesthetic learner. So I like to do things, and the hands-on is really, beneficial in my opinion.
Excellent. All right. And then I was also wondering, you had mentioned being computer savvy, and I was just wondering, how computer savvy were you before you entered this particular field? Like, did you have like a lot of knowledge, or were you, it was just basic?
I think I had the basic knowledge of a teenager in 2007, because, growing up, I sort of grew up when the internet was starting to come out, right? So I was probably on the computer every night after school and stuff like that. So I think I had, sort of the basic knowledge that every teenager had at the time. Because, 2007, so I was 17, 18. Well, yeah, I would have turned 18 and then started college. So I would say I had pretty basic knowledge, but once I started doing CAD and GIS, I learned a lot, and especially that the technical communications class in that first year teaches you a lot with using, different types of programs. Obviously, I haven't used that many virtual meeting programs, so this is a little new for me, but you know, adapt, right?
Absolutely. I asked, so what you're saying is someone like me, because I'm just a little bit older than you, if I was to take something like that, I could be successful because they'd
Yes.
give me all the learning tools that I would
They
need.
provide you everything for sure, yeah. And when you join first year, they provide you with a computer. So that was something I forgot to mention as well. So if you don't, you know, you don't have to go in there thinking that you're going to need to have a laptop or something like that. They provide you with a laptop. You do have to give it back at the end of the program, but it's very helpful during the program.
Excellent. And then my last question would just be before we end off is, it is a unique job what you do, and I was just wondering what led you to this career path?
Growing up, I really loved drafting. Like, so I don't know what the reason I started doing this, but when I was a kid, I would just draw floor plans. So I was mainly interested in like architectural drafting, which I still am. But once I got on with Manitoba infrastructure, I sort of fell in love with my position and the people that I work with and everything like that. So that's why I went that direction. But with civil engineering technology, it was an opportunity to learn more about drafting and use those sort of passions that I had in drafting and wanting to draw and use the computer to draw those floor plans that I imagined as a kid, you know.
Excellent. Well, I'd like to thank you, Lacey, and everyone else for joining us. And I'd also like to remind all of you who have joined us to be sure to check out the rest of our exhibitors and the rest of our presentations that we have going on for the rest of this day. And be sure to enter our survey to win a tablet. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Charm.
Bye.
Bye.